Tonight, my adventure starts right here at the world-famous 2nd Street Tunnel here in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. It's Sunday night, April 12th, 2026. It's about 10:50 p.m. It's actually kind of cool. We had an early spring rainstorm, kind of just cleaned up everything. We actually have another rainstorm in store, so in between this and the rainstorm to be, I'm just gonna take a walk down 2nd Street. Just see what else I can come across. And I thought it'd be a perfect place to start, right here at 2nd Street, looking at some graffiti, not too much traffic going by. Actually, a lot of the pieces are pretty covered up. They're always painting over. Here comes a Waymo. Anyone driving in there? Nope. I actually saw a Waymo cruising down the freeway. And I was like, well, I didn't know they drove on the freeways, but it was driving on the freeway. I thought that was kind of interesting. But this world famous 2nd Street Tunnel, definitely Hollywood's favorite tunnel to shoot at here downtown. Hey there, thanks for the light. Constructed in 1924. Some would say it's a cinematographer's dream, but yeah, you've probably seen it in many movies. I've seen it in many movies. Blade Runner, Terminator. Really, the list goes on and on. But it's actually really loud in there, so I just thought I would start right here on 2nd Street and Hill. I thought I'd just walk down Hill Street, see what the heck is going on down here on a quiet Sunday night downtown. Hill Street. Hill Street Blues. Another famous TV show downtown. That's the Cube, United States Federal Courthouse. So as I mentioned before, just gonna cruise down Hill Street, see some of the lights, see some of the sights. Recording this video on April 12th, 2026. My name's Chris Koser, and I'd love for you to come along with me. So let's get to it. Gonna leave the Lime bike behind. Won't be needing that. I'm going on foot. Just some more lamps that are off. Not sure if these are city lamps. I don't think so. These are probably related to the building right here, so. But nevertheless, they're not on. They look pretty cool though. I like that dome globe kind of aesthetic. The Kawada Hotel, cool little brick building. It has little inlets to let the sunlight in. It looks like they got some LED lighting up there. That's just cool. Red, green. Got the fire escape up front. A lot of Japanese tourists utilize that hotel. We got the Cherry Pick Cafe downstairs. Good place to get a cup of coffee and a artisan sandwich, maybe a ham and cheese croissant, something like that. Kind of a utilitarian concrete looking building next door. Has that ramp for the cars to get up. All these buildings require parking. One of the stipulations and part of the city ordinances you get here in LA. Although some of the newer kind of apartment complexes, stuff like that, that are near public transportation, I guess they get away without getting in parking somehow. But then that means they just park on the street, and a lot of the street parking gets taken away. This building's actually retirement living. A lot of balconies, which is kind of cool. Coming up to 3rd and Hill, just noticing and admiring that lit up kind of ornate 1920s kind of top to that building. It's over on 3rd Street. I'm gonna stick to Hill Street right now though. Anyone driving that way, Mo? Angeles Plaza. Retirement community over here at the base of Bunker Hill. And they go way up there. You can kind of see Wells Fargo Tower up there. I walked through Wells Fargo Plaza the other night on my other vlog. You can check it out. I started at the Disney Concert Hall. Rummage sale this Friday. I like the banner. You know, the old folks love a good rummage sale. That's what my grandma used to call them. We're having a rummage sale. I'm like, oh, what the heck's a rummage sale? It's a garage sale. But I guess maybe the stuff is just whatever you have. It doesn't have to come from your garage, so to speak. Coming up to the 3rd Street tunnel now. Hollywood likes this one too. You get a lot of racers. They like to blast their engines, rev their engines through that tunnel. Just going under Bunker Hill from Hill Street all the way to Figueroa down there, through a mountain, essentially. Through a hill, Bunker Hill, and you can only have a vehicle that's 12 feet 7 inches, so big rigs can't make it through that tunnel. Another driverless vehicle right here, Waymo. Download the app and ride the day, Waymo. They're cruising Jaguars. Later. This is a massive parking structure right here, public parking. Kind of like the little notched out corner indentation. They got a clock up there. Kind of a little decorative facade, but it's just a park. Well, I guess they got some stuff downstairs. As I wait for this walk sign, I was just kind of thinking, I think I'm going to stick to Hill Street, like I said. I'm coming up to Pershing Square. I'm not going to go into Pershing Square because it closes at 10:30 p.m. and it's already after 10:30 p.m. So the security guards, they're pretty strict in there. They may have some homeless people in there or, you know, street people. They kind of get the run of the roost over there, but yeah, I'll be passing by Pershing Square. But first I'm coming up to Angel's Flight, at least the lower part of Angel's Flight Railway here on Hill Street. Looks like that car is utilizing this parking structure. Hill and 3rd, downtown. One of the newer bus stops. This one's pretty new, actually. I mean, these bus stops have been popping up all over LA, but yeah. This one's nice, has a light. Welcome to the heart of downtown. US Bank Tower, Bunker Hill, Colburn School, Angel's Flight. Checked out the Colburn School in the Disney Hall in one of my previous videos. But the DTLA Alliance. And they make it where no one can sleep on the bus bench. Individual seating only, and they're all different elevations, so even if you wanted to try, they're about like 2 inches off. These globe type park lighting, these ones are on. Same ones as the last one. So that's kind of cool, they're on. Then across the street is the Grand Central Marketplace, the western end. All those doors roll up and you could walk in there. Tons of restaurants, and it starts here at Hill Street, then it goes all the way to Broadway, I believe. But it's a busy place during the daytime. And it looks like it's since 1917. The Grand Central Marketplace. Coming up to Angel's Flight, the bottom of the Angel's Flight here on Hill Street. Just one of the only vernacular railways you have in the country. Believe it or not, you got one at Six Flags Magic Mountain. That's the other one. So you got the Angel's Flight right here. Then over at Magic Mountain, you got another vernacular railway. I think that's what it's called. Last car, 10 p.m. Just missed it by about an hour, I guess I would say. Gates locked when red light is on. Well, red light's not on, but it is after 10 p.m., so. Yep, they're locked. The Angel's Flight Railway. This was actually moved here later on. It used to be over by the 2nd Street Tunnel where I started, over down there, but instead of destroying it, they moved it right here, which is kind of good. And that's the staircase I was looking at my last video that's blocked off. I'm not sure if they open it during the daytime. Usually never down here during the daytime, so it's really hard to tell. And this whole little plaza is fenced off, kind of like a little park plaza you have here for the Angel's Flight, but it's fenced off. Can't get in there, but it's probably open during the day, although this fence looks kind of janky. If they're gonna have something, maybe they should have some nice wrought iron or something. And it looks like we got one of these bells. These are mission bells. I think it's part of his path for the Spanish missionaries. They put these bells along their route. Angel's Flight Railway since 1901, Bunker Hill, Los Angeles. Pretty cool. Yep, this one was actually restored, put back here in the 90s. After being in storage for like 36 years, and they reassembled it right here. And like I mentioned before, the original one was on 2nd Street by the 2nd Street Tunnel. But yep, one of the only 2 funicular railways you got here in the United States. Angel's Flight Railway. A beauty. I love this orange and the flag top. You got the little jewel crest on top. Popcorn lighting is really cool. And last car is at 10 p.m., so I just missed it. One of these days I'll catch a ride on the Angel's car, the Angel's Flight Railway. I could get here before 10 p.m., so I should. Same thing with Pershing Square. I wouldn't mind walking through that place without getting, you know, having a talking to by a security. So as I passed by the Grand Central Market, really that was the back door that we saw, where most tourists use the Broadway side. But the hillside entrance, pretty good too. That's kind of like the local side. Been in operation since 1917, and really back in the day it was where you'd actually do your grocery shopping, kind of just grab a friendly taco, They've been selling, they have a lot of good street tacos in there. More scooters as far as the eye can see. At least these ones are standing up tall. They're not knocked over like in a pile. They've actually been taking a lot better care of the scooters lately. I see a lot of the scooter guys making sure they're all stacked up neatly, and for a while it was becoming a mess. You'd have to like dodge scooters every time you're walking down the sidewalk. Over here is the Old Broadway Department Store. I guess I could take a little detour, check it out. It looks like these streetlights have been fixed, which is kind of good. You can tell because they have the white LEDs in there. For a long time, these ones in particular were out. But hopefully they start fixing the streetlights. As I mentioned in other videos, they have a major streetlight copper theft epidemic going on here in Los Angeles. Maybe like every other streetlight or every other block. Really, it's kind of unbelievable. But right here, the Junipero Serra building, the former Broadway Department Store. And you can kind of like see it right there, but too bad they have the floor mats there. Kind of a shame. But now it's a government building. They used to have a cool little coffee shop in here, but it looks like that thing is empty. I know on Broadway there's a good indicator, but I'm sticking to Hill Street for now. I'm gonna do Broadway on another night. But the lights are really bright. They've added a lot of these lighting. The Old Broadway Department Store. Now it's the state of California, Junipero Serra building. But yeah, under those floor mats, I guess because it was raining, it says the Broadway Department Store. It must have been something to go shopping at the Old Broadway Department Store back in the 1920s here in downtown Los Angeles. The golden years. And coming up to 5th and Hill, this building, just another older residential 1920s building with all that ornate detail they have. And here come the cars down Bunker Hill. You can see the hill right there. Historic downtown. Coming up the Pershing Square. Metro 417. This building actually has like the old Los Angeles train tunnels, access to it at the bottom of it, which are actually kind of urban exploration kind of hotbeds. The old LA underground tunnels. This is a landmark nonetheless. Metro 417. And I looked at the other side of this building when I was on Olive Street the other night, and yeah, they have the top penthouse level all lit up with all that ornamental detail up there. Really cool. I like all the bricks, like all the big block. Some are light, some are dark. And this archway is really beautiful right here. I'm gonna have to cross the street, check this out. Got the walk sign. And that big iron lamp. Too bad it's not on, but it's cool hanging. And the seals of the flagpole are really cool. Just a beautiful building. Looks like some kind of Roman god up there or something. Just an architect god. He has his square, his compass. And there's the tunnel I was talking about, the train tunnel. And this is the construction of this building right here. Not sure if it's coming through, but yeah, beautiful nonetheless. The Subway Terminal Building, erected by Subway Terminal Corporation, 1925. Very cool. Yep. Back in 1925, they were trying to build a subway system here in Los Angeles. Now, 101 years later, 2026, it's finally happening. Well, we had the Red Line going on 30 years now, but very low ridership. But it is coming up now. They're expanding all the way through Beverly Hills into Century City. Now we're getting talks of a subway going from Westwood, UCLA area, all the way into Van Nuys, which that should be something else. The subway finally making an impression here in the City of Angels. After 101 years, the LA Red Line. It's kind of interesting because when they're going through La Brea Tar Pits area, they're always uncovering like saber-toothed tigers and all sorts of prehistoric animals. LAPD. As I make my way to Pershing Square, just gonna stop and admire the Pershing Square building right here. Another big block mason type structure. Pershing Square building. And I kind of like the overhang columns at the top. And that kind of balcony structure they got mid-rise right there. The Pershing Square building. It's kind of cool. Then right across the street from the Pershing Square building, you got Trademark TM. High-end luxury living. Looks like you got some retail space for rent here, for lease. The bottom floor of Trademark TM, residential living. Looks pretty fancy in there. They got a nice lounge and nice lanterns in there. Eclectic apartments. Live at Trademark. You can get 2,000 square foot units in here. Maybe 5,000 a month if you want one of those 2,400 square foot units. High-end luxury living right here. Pershing Square adjacent. Then you got Miss Fish, a Japanese restaurant and whiskey bar right at the bottom of the Pershing Square building. And you got Hill Street Pizza. So you can get sushi and pizza. Then you got the subway stop right there, the real subway, the Red Line. You got some characters over there. Crossing 5th Street now, headed to Pershing Square area. I'm not gonna cut through Pershing Square. I'm gonna do a Pershing Square set in a while. I know they got a Beethoven statue in there. They got some other historical statues. Yep. Sunday night kind of coming to an end. People getting off the bus, making their way back to their apartment. Route 4, this goes all the way down Hill Street, Broadway in Venice. If I did cut through Pershing Square, I'd probably spend, 15 or 20 minutes in there minimum. So as for now, I'm just bypassing it, continuing my journey down Hill Street here. International Jewelry Plaza across the street. Then you got the California Jewelry Mart. I don't know, is that a hard word to say? Jewelry. The Jewelry Mart. California Jewelry Mart. If you want to get a diamond ring or maybe a studded bracelet, you can probably find it down here. Probably wholesale too. Beats Robbins Brothers or whatever. The Western Jewelry Mart. This is another beautiful old structure. Actually, you have a new build or like a 60s office tower maybe right here. Right up against this old kind of 1920s structure. And they're literally touching each other. So for a second you think it's the same building, but they're not. You got the Western Jewelry Mart. That sign is on the newer portion with the staircase you can kind of see. Then flush up against the old building right here with those beautiful chandeliers in there. I'll have to walk across the street and look at that. But it's kind of incredible. And the older building is much more beautiful. Has a lot of that ornate detail at the top. The Jewelry Plaza. Go check out this chandelier. This beautiful archway entry. The W.M. Fox building. All that oil-based, hand-sculpted, ornate detail. Open to the public. And those chandeliers are beautiful. Just a lot more beautiful craftsmanship and all that marble on the walls. Right here at Fox Jewelry Plaza. W.M. Fox building. And here is the W.M. Fox building right up against the Western Jewelry Mart. And it looks like it's like rubbery silicone separating the buildings. But if you want to go in here and get your jewelry, you can go in there as well. I don't see anything on the display. I know there's been an epidemic, here in Southern California, Orange County, Newport Beach, maybe not Beverly Hills, but Santa Monica. A lot of smash and grab kind of stuff at the jewelry stores. So not sure if these jewelry stores have that same problem. But nevertheless, there's a lot of jewelry you get down here. Looks like you got Jacob Jewelers in there, bridal rings. They probably think I'm like scouting out the jewelry mart right now. Just seeing if we can crack the security. No, just kidding. St. Vincent Jewelry Center. I always love it when they paint on the side of these old buildings. So cool. I think that security guard was kind of wondering what I was doing, shooting my camera into the store, showing all the jewelry. Probably thought I was like, you better not be scouting out for your crew. We buy gold. Well, if you have gold you need to sell, that's where you go. Los Angeles Jewelry Center. Man, this is a cool building right here. 629 Hill Street. I love the emerald green kind of looking. Almost kind of has like an Oz or like the Wizard of Oz look to it. Man, so beautiful. Wholesale Jewelry Mart. It's kind of cool, that green kind of tile facade. Then this building, you got diamonds. It's a cool protruding sign. Not sure if it was neon, but it's cool nonetheless. Theater Jewelry Center. The jewelry showplace of the world. Just jewelry store after jewelry store. As far as the eye could see. Maybe if you need to buy some uncut diamonds on the black market, you can come down here maybe. Then right through this sliver is a perfect shot of Wilshire Grand, the newest, tallest building here in the City of Angels. Right in between those buildings, kind of cool. The Wholesale Jewelry Mart. New York Jewelers Exchange right there. The St. Vincent Jewelry Center. It looks like their security guard is right in there. And it looks like they're celebrating the Dodgers in there. So I went to the Dodger game last night against the Texas Rangers, which is an interleague game. And it was a sold out game. You know, all the Dodger games are pretty much sold out. So it was a fun game nonetheless. Dodgers won 6-3. And it was a cool crowd. Saturday night at Dodger Stadium. Ohtani had a leadoff homer. Well, he answered a leadoff homer. The Texas Rangers had a leadoff homer. But then the Dodgers prevailed. You got some retail space. You got some jewelry. And here on the corner of 7th and Hill, this used to be the old Warner Brothers Theater. Now it's just the Jewelry Mart. Old Warner Brothers Theater. And if you look at the top, you can see all that crazy detail. That cool dome kind of corner top. But now it's pretty much just a bunch of jewelry stalls. But the old Warner Brothers Theater. Pretty cool. Then you got more jewelry down here. The historic core. Sticking to Hill Street though. I'll do my cross streets another night. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up to Olympic. This is a nice looking building. Looks like they have a patio up there. I can see some umbrellas. And the lighting's nice too. More of that ornate detail at the top. I kind of like the H design. Gives extra lighting for the building. You can add in some of those umbrellas. Just more jewelry marts. Jewelry as far as the eye could see on here on Hill Street. The JPB Jewelry Box Company. Rooftop Oasis, lost. Huh. I wonder if it actually is an oasis up there. That looks cool down that alley. It looks kind of interesting down there. Just truly is a movie maker or a cinematographer's paradise down here. You'd think you're in New York City or Philadelphia, anywhere on the East Coast, but no, we're right here in the beautiful city of Angels. Hilltop Coffee and Kitchen. Huh. Find your Hilltop. Maybe get a cup of coffee. Oh, it looks like they have a bar in there. Probably truly is an oasis here in the jewelry mart. You get some coffee, you get a kitchen, nice lighting. I like this building facade. And right across the street, you got another old building with the fire escape. I think I'm gonna cross the street, get a better view of this building. Hilltop Oasis. Here's the falafel shop. I pointed that out when I was over there on Olive Street the other night. Hilltop Coffee and Kitchen, downtown Doe. And there is the rooftop oasis up there. I see the trees kind of poking out. Then you got this little building, no, not little, but skinny kind of older building with the fire escape. Union Lofts. Then you can see some modern development through there. Such an eclectic mix of architecture down here. And it's kind of good because a lot of this wasn't happening from about, well, if you want to start from like the mid 90s all the way up to like 2015, it was kind of just stagnated and paused down here in downtown LA. But now people want to live downtown again. Another beautiful old building. Union Lofts. I like that kind of emblem type brooch thing they got up there. Not sure if I would want to live in one of these old buildings or one of these newer buildings. Shake Shack. Got some pretty good burgers in there. And this is a pretty big building right here. Looks like it's abandoned. None of the lights are on. Looks like it's all boarded up. But it does look like it was a beautiful building nonetheless. Crossing 8th Street now. And you get a Shake Shack right here on 8th and Hill. Not sure how long this place has been here, but you can get burgers, never frozen. Get some fries, hot dogs, some floats. And I don't know if they're open or I guess they're open. Yeah, that guy's paying for his burger over there. on a quiet Sunday night. Get a nice burger. What time is it? 11:41. Maybe they close at midnight. And if you don't want a burger, you can get some chicken. California Chicken Cafe. I think they're closed though. The cage is down. I like the color. Now leasing 825 South Hill Street. Is this that new building you kind of see? Oh yeah. Goes way up there. This is the 825 South Hill building. It has really cool LED lighting, and maybe that's why that Shake Shack can kind of exist. And kind of like this, Olympic and Hill. This also has that really cool LED lighting at the top. RGB kind of, you get orange, you get green. Kind of like your gaming computer at home. And I think they can program it too, where like if the Dodgers are in the World Series or something, it goes all blue. And that's really cool. My next venture will be down Broadway, where you can kind of see the world famous Orpheum Theater right there in the shroud of darkness. That's a beautiful neon sign. Unfortunately, a lot of that neon on Broadway is unlit. What would it take to get all the neon lit and all the streetlights back on? The Orpheum Theater. Truly, what would it really take to get the streetlights back on, to get all this neon back on, soak the streets in neon? That's what I want to see. I wonder if it ever was lit. Maybe like in the 80s or the 90s, and maybe all the way up till the mid to late 2000s. Not anymore. Then here on the corner of Hill and 9th, you got a beautiful building right here in the darkness. Maybe I could turn the contrast up on this or something, but empty. Beautiful pillars and arches. A grand lobby nonetheless. And that elevator, all the detail. Beautiful. They got chains on the doors. This is beautiful. Look at the ceiling. They sure don't build them like this anymore, unfortunately. They try to cut every corner possible. There isn't any room for artisan or craftsmanship. Sad state for architecture. As far as I'm concerned, stuff like this is just way more beautiful. Look at this iron kind of gateway. Really dark here though. I love when these buildings have these giant blocks. Ground floor and basement for lease. Glory Burger right here. Not anymore. Right on Hill Street and 9th Street. You can have a beautiful old building like the one we just saw. Or what about this glass tower right here? I guess they built that thing for a lot cheaper than what it would take to build some beautiful ornate columns and arches and hand sculpted craftsmanship. But I guess that we're in the future now. It's 2026. And these buildings have been here for 100 years or more. You see those beautiful arches at the top? Plush flush up against that new tower. 100-year separation between those two buildings right there. Pretty incredible that the City of Angels is going on 200, something like that, years. The jewelry district starts at 9th Street. I think it goes all the way to 2nd Street. As I pass 9th Street, still headed south here on Hill Street. Actually coming into the fashion district here. I think I'm gonna save the fashion district for another night. We'll see. But it's a fun walk nonetheless. Coming up to Olympic is where you get the fashion district. And South Park, that's the sports district, not the TV show, but over there you'll start seeing like crypto and the convention center. And there's the top of that building on Broadway. Looks nice with all the lights. And after you buy your diamonds, you can come in here and get some Botox. Perfect. Drip with us. Looks like that Irohan is out of business. Jewish grocery store. Coming up to Olympic. Looks like this building has a Chipotle. I don't really see too many Chipotles around anymore for some reason. But I guess they're there. Another nice lobby, South Park by Windsor. Just another new kind of boxy building with no character. But they do have a nice lobby with a security guard checking me out. The security guard's more interested in me than all these other kind of characters they got out here. Chipotle, Mexican grill. I haven't been to a Chipotle in a long time. But you got pickup and delivery. Good to know. Well, I made it to Olympic. Olympic and Hill. You got this Olympic and Hill luxury rental homes. World-class amenities. I bet you it's $5,000 a month minimum here. They got that cool RGB kind of red, green, blue coloring at the top. But still, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It has kind of like wavy looking balconies. Then over there on Broadway, you got the Broadway Palace Apartments. I'll be on Broadway on another night. But Olympic and Hill, rental homes. Retail space available still. A lot of retail space available. Omni Group, DTLA. That's what they want in there. They got 1, 2, and 3 bedroom rental homes. Sharpen your lifestyle. World-class amenities. Olympic and Hill. And they got all the streetlights on around here, which is kind of nice. And they have some nice safety lighting right here. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Maybe like, subscribe. If you're feeling adventurous, all that good stuff. Maybe leave a comment. Maybe say hello in the comments or something like that. But I appreciate it. Have a good night. Chris Koser, over and out.